everyone. Today we will be discussing your topic in one of your modules. Your topic is about ethical legal considerations in nursing research. So with us today is also one of your instructors for thesis 2, Sir Enrico Del Rosario. Hi, sir.
Hello, sir.
So in your module, ethical legal considerations in nursing research, it actually include 2 lessons, and today we will be focusing on the foundations included in that specific module. So your module will include the topic about development of various codes of ethics, research ethics and the law, elements of research ethics, and codes of ethics. Today we will be focusing on codes of ethics as well as the elements of research ethics. So in the codes of ethics, it includes three important foundations. These topics or these concepts are very important because these are the foundations of you being able to conduct an ethically sound research. So first of the 3 codes of ethics is beneficence. Beneficence basically include the right to freedom from harm as well as the right to protection from exploitation. Respect for human dignity, on the other hand, include right to self-determination and right to full disclosure. And so for respect for human dignity, the right to self-determination can be exercised by taking the consent of the participants or your target population. So you always ask their permission or their sound decision to be a part of the research study. Another important aspect of the respect for human dignity is the right to full disclosure. That's why when you ask for the consent of the participant, you will provide them all the information they need about the research that you wish them to participate in. So you tell them what the research study is about, what are the objectives of the study. You also tell them what are the risks that are involved, what are the benefits of being a participant in the study, and so on. For justice, it includes fair treatment of the participants and their right to privacy. Would you like to add some information about these 3 codes of ethics, Sir Enrico?
Beneficence involves the right to freedom from harm and also the right to protection from exploitation. In the participants, the researchers may actually provide merely benefits rather than harm, and then the researchers have the right to protect the participants from any exploitation during the course of the study. And also the elements that these 3 beneficence and respect for human dignity and justice are the core of research ethics that will be involved also those elements of ethics that will be discussed later.
So thank you, Sir Enrico. Your knowledge about these 3 important concepts in terms of research ethics will be very important because you will be applying these concepts in conceptualizing your research study or any academic activity that you will be conducting in the future. Like for example, in the concept of beneficence, when we look at the concept in the context of ethics in nursing practice, beneficence basically talks about what benefit does the activity entail for for your patient. But in this case, or in the same way, in research ethics, we also consider that one. Although, if you would notice, beneficence is included here, but non-maleficence is not included here, because right to freedom from harm is also non-maleficence. So it's under the concept of beneficence. In your for the sake of uh, being prepared for the board examinations, later on they might be asking you about what particular code of ethics are met by doing this particular activity in a research study. So for example, if the in the board exam, for example, they would be presenting a situation wherein the researcher would be asking for the consent of the participants and respecting their autonomy. That would be right to self-determination. So if that question, the question would be asking you if doing that would would be ensuring beneficence, respect for human dignity, or justice. So you would choose respect for human dignity. So ganun siya. Later on, we will be discussing more details about the codes of ethics as applied to the elements of research ethics. So in here, the elements of research ethics include social value and scientific validity, informed consent, vulnerability of research participants, risks, benefits, and safety, privacy and confidentiality, justice, and transparency. Would you like to start with the social value and scientific validity, sir?
Yes, sir.
In your during your defense, the panel members always ask at the beginning, what are the benefits, or what is the significance of doing that research study? Actually, they are pointing out on the social value of your research. So ganun siya. Dito papasok yung tanong ng panel members ninyo, para saan yung research ninyo. So they are basically just asking the social value. Sir Enrico?
So when we say scientific validity, your research must be in line with scientific evidences. So valid science is a fundamental ethical requirement when we are conducting our study. And then we have also to specify the benefits of this study to our participants. And then we move on to the informed consent. When we say informed consent, so it's a decision of a competent individual or a potential participant to participate in a certain study. So the researcher will include all the details about the research, and we have also to include the mental and the physical capacity of your participant to be included on your study. Whereas we also have to identify those vulnerable groups in research in connection to the vulnerability of research participants. So these participants, such as those mentally incapacitated, children, and those who are older adults, can be included on the as being tagged as a vulnerable participants. So if you are mentally incapacitated, or you cannot able to decide on your own, so we have to consider giving them the informed consent, or they can or they cannot be able to participate in the study. Sir Joel, you have anything to add with regard to informed consent?
I think I would like to emphasize that there are elements of consent. Kailangan ma-meet nila ito when they will be doing the informed consent forms or they will be asking the consent of the participants, their target participants. So first thing is competence. Kailangan yung tao from which the consent will be taken is competent enough to provide their consent. That's why in or among participants who are minors, we need the parents' consent because competence is questionable kapag minor ang ating participant. Kaya we need a person who is of legal capacity na tinatawag natin to provide the informed consent. So that's number one, competence. Pangalawa is information. So there is a reason why consent is always termed as informed consent, because they have to be informed of what they are trying to what they are consenting about. So that's the second element. The third one is voluntariness. So this is in connection to their right to self-determination. So hindi dapat sila napipilitan to provide their consent. That's why in most of the informed consent forms or informed consent procedures that we are trying to evaluate as members of the panel, we ensure that there is limited instance where the target participant is coerced in any form when they are asked for their consent. So they have to be voluntary. Pang-apat is comprehension. So the person providing consent must be able to comprehend or understand the information. This is also in relation to competence. That's why informed consent forms can be in different languages or in various settings or in several participants. This is considered by translating the informed consent form in a dialect wherein it can be understood by the target participant. So yun yung mga importanteng elements when we are trying to draft our informed consent forms as well as our informed consent procedures. That's for the informed consent, Sir Enrico. Maybe we'll move on with risks, benefits, and safety.
With regard to the risk, benefits, and safety, when we say risk, you have to identify if ever that your study could actually present any risk to your participants, and you have to include all the benefits that your participants may incur during the course of the study, and we have to make sure also the safety of the participants when they are being involved in a certain study. Sir Joel?
In addition to what was mentioned by Sir Enrico, the risks, benefits, and safety are to be included in the informed consent form. It has to be concretely or explicitly stated in the informed consent form, because it's a part of the information that we provide to our participants. Ano ba ang risks na involved when they will be participating in the study? What benefits could they have from being participants? So benefits can be in the form of pwedeng disturbance fee yan, na magbibigay tayo ng mga gift o kaya pambayad sa kanila because of or in return of the favor that we are taking from them or they are providing for us. And the safety, siyempre ilagay din natin yan sa ating informed consent form. This information has to be provided to the participant. Moving on, we have privacy and confidentiality. Ito, madalas na nababasa natin when we read the ethical considerations being drafted by our authors. Pero privacy and confidentiality are actually two different concepts. Confidentiality, oftentimes, these are those involving the research process and those involving the 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 actual condition that the participants have. For privacy, on the other hand, these are data that may not be connected to their actual condition. Halimbawa, ang ating participant involve those who are afflicted with COVID-19, yung mga may sakit na COVID-19. Privacy would involve data about them and perhaps their family, the family members na kasama nila. Hindi siya connected doon sa their situation having COVID-19 or being afflicted with COVID-19. But confidentiality is that information that they have been afflicted with COVID-19, that they had symptoms about pertaining to COVID-19, they have been positive for the past several days, something like that. So, but these two concepts are always taken in consideration as one, because what we are trying to point out when we consider privacy and confidentiality is that we keep the information only to the extent that we need the information. So, kanino lang ba dapat accessible yung information na yan? Halimbawa, pag sinabi natin na ang makukuha nating data will only be accessible to us and our advisor, hindi natin ibibigay ang nakuha nating information, private and confidential information, to statisticians, to members of the panel, and other people. So, yun ang important things that we have to point out when we are trying to consider privacy and confidentiality. A very common mistake that we do when we consider privacy and confidentiality is there is a form of us to trace kung sino yung mga naging participant. So, hindi kasi enough kuminsan that we anonymize by coding the name of the participant. No? Nag-code tayo ng participant. Halimbawa, ang ginagawa nating research ay qualitative research. And ang mga involved sa qualitative research na yan ay halimbawa lahat ng mga nag-positive ng COVID-19 sa isang institution, halimbawa sa isang university or sa isang college. So hindi kasi enough that we anonymize yung mga kasama kung there is a way for us to trace. Halimbawa, tatlo lang naman yung nag-positive dun sa college na yon. It doesn't matter kung in-anonymize mo siya na sinabi mo. Pag sinabi nating anonymize or anonymity, pinalitan natin yung pangalan niya. Gumawa tayo ng nickname o kaya nag-code tayo si COVID-X11, ganyan. That's way of anonymizing. That's way of preserving confidentiality or privacy of the identity of the participant. Pero sometimes it's not enough. Kaya there are studies wherein hindi rin pinapakita sa title or even in the methodology kung saan yung particular na institution where they got the data. Halimbawa, instead of saying in ITRMC or in DIMSU, you can just simply say in a hospital in Region 1 or in a selected hospital in Region 1, or you could say in a higher education institution, because that's that way we can preserve yung privacy and confidentiality of those persons involved in our study. So you have to take note of this particular instances when when we ensure privacy and confidentiality. Okay na. Move tayo sa justice. Justice has been discussed a while back. So justice is just the right to fair treatment and right to privacy. Although nag-overlap siya doon sa privacy and confidentiality, the main point when we try to look at justice as an element of research ethics is that there should be fair treatment between individuals involved and those who are supposedly discarded or disregarded or unqualified, considered to be unqualified to participate in the study. Pag sinabi nating fair treatment, it also involves yung treatment natin sa mga participants natin, considering their, for example, yung gender nila or their sex. So justice also involve yung kunwari, are we trying to discriminate male from female target participants? Ganyan. So, halimbawa, there is this study that focused on gender equality. Why are we focusing, pag sinabi nating gender equality, why are we just focusing on women? Is that a fair treatment of those persons involved in terms of, or as far as gender equality is concerned? So yun yung mga kailangan din nating pag-isipan when we're trying to look at justice. And lastly, Sir Enrico, transparency.
When you say transparency, tools or the research shall be characterized the
So when we say transparency, we have to be, the researchers must be transparent to their participants. So meaning, kailangan natin na dapat ma-disclose yung content ng study pag valid yung results, and then significant yung results sa participants, and also it is readily available for when the research results are disclosed to any participants. So yun yung main elements for being transparent of the researcher.
sinabi ko.
Thank you, Sir Enrico. So that's transparency. Basically, kailangan alam nung participant yung mga information na important for them to know. There are times wherein we also consider transparency as a risk na kapag alam nila if there are any information that would pose risk for them. Yun, wini-weigh din natin yung being transparent and the risk involved sa ating mga participant. So, yun, Sir Enrico, thank you so much. But sabi nga namin kanina, in your module, it also involved yung topics on research ethics and the law, as well as development of various codes of ethics. This will be tackled in detail sa inyong module. And for research ethics and the law, we would like to later on provide you a separate orientation on how we will be aligning our proposed research studies para it will be abiding with the existing laws and policies applied to doing nursing research. So that's everything that we want to provide to you as of now. So, Sir Enrico, any parting words?
Your research should be ethically sound, and So, dapat masunod natin yung elements, and then the code of ethics should be strictly followed. Yun lang, sir.
Kaya dun sa inyong syllabus that we have provided to you last week or several weeks ago, ang nakalagay doon is that you will be able to submit, create, finish a scientific and ethically sound research. So very important yung research na ginagawa natin should abide with the basic principles of research ethics. So that's it. See you again in the next videos.